Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, wow, a little bit about me. I have spent since 2003, I have been a relationship advisor. I've worked with couples, I work with companies, I work with entrepreneurs, I work with executives, and I teach communication skills. I teach people how to get out of their own way. I teach people how to build a greater connection amongst themselves, with themselves and also with other people. But prior to that, I was a network sitcom writer, and which was kind of I call it the unfunniest time of my life, because I was working with a lot of really unhappy people who drank a lot and worked on a show for ABC and Disney, which was pretty much a nightmare because everybody wanted something different. So I kind of burned out a bit on entertainment and decided that I would go back to school and get my master's in actually spiritual psychology, which is the practice of conscious awareness, I guess is probably the easiest way to describe it. How to be present in the moment to what is, and a whole bunch of other skills. And from there, I became a relationship advisor. I used to work just with men on men's stuff, and then women would come to me and say, "Hey, can you help me with my man?" Okay, and then I realized from there, I went and worked with, I don't know if you heard of John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, but I worked with this company called Go Ask Mars Venus, and I did relationship coaching. And then from there, just fully branched out on my own. And that's what I have been doing. I've always loved network marketing. I love the model. I love the concept. I experimented with a couple companies that I either love the product, love the people, but couldn't find a way to tie it into what I do in the world, because it's very important for me. I wasn't looking, I didn't go, God, I'm so miserable in my job, I need to find something else. To me, it was, how do I take what I do and the services I provide and then find products that actually enhance my clients' lives? So I was highly unsuccessful, as I define success, in the first two companies I was with. I learned a lot, though. It was kind of like going to school and paying for an education. So I learned how the industry worked. I learned how to play in the industry. I learned how to work in the industry. But I never really went very far. This first company, I actually wrote a manuscript that they were going to publish because I created a process from it. But that didn't ultimately work out. I went to another company. I did a series of calls for the team I was on. There were a couple thousand people on the team. And within about 10 days, there were about 6,000 people listening in. I did inspirational messages that I would literally record at night for release the next day. So a lot of people got to know me through doing that. But with that company also it wasn't working out. It really was more about, it's not really fitting into what I do in the world. So a buddy of mine, Jared Maidenberg, who had been in about 1,000 companies, at least that's what it seemed like, sent me a text message. And he said, dude, I was like, I can hear him, dude, you got to try this. It's bulletproof coffee, next level, contact me ASAP. Now, he kind of knew we had been in touch. We'd never met in person. We met actually through a video that I created for my first company that he saw. But he knew I had been dealing with adrenal fatigue, some hormonal stuff past 50 that was holding me back, just some challenges. And so he had promised to send me a coffee thing that he was doing. Previously, he was supposed to send me a sample that never arrived. So I said, well, if you could send me a sample, that'd be great. And then maybe include the coffee that I never got. He started to laugh because that was Jared, like he knows he bounced around to a bunch of different companies. So he sent me the product, and I kind of instinctively knew, like I kind of intuitively was getting that this product could be something that could really help me physically, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. So I had left the previous company. The product, he sent me the product, it hadn't arrived. Now this was the early days. So for most of you who, I think probably all of you, who weren't there. We were a little like VIP deal, like $350. You get 75 servings. There was no compensation plan. If you brought a couple people in, I think they paid $120 on your first level. It was just more of a referral. So I told a bunch of people about it, and they were interested. And my sample, once again, had not arrived. So I think, okay, here we go. This is the coffee thing all over again. But I got a hit. So I turned to my wife and I said, I just have a really strong feeling about this. I don't know why. I'm not sure why, but I think I'm just going to buy the VIP pack. So I did. And then I had like 3 people come in immediately, and it was paid for. So I figured, no harm, no foul. The sample arrived the next day. So I enrolled July 14th of 2015. And the sample arrived the next day. And I drank it. And I was about 2 or 3 gulps into it. And my world just changed in an instant. Now, some people have a 5-day experience. I had like a 5-minute experience. And I'm texting him back, and I actually posted the text not long ago on Facebook, sharing the experience, like reminding people and reminding myself of where I was at. But I was like, if this thing could work on my clients, the way I'm feeling right now, this is going to be insane. Like, this could be insane. So I had 1 sample, and then the next day it was gone. My product didn't arrive because we were back ordered. My product didn't arrive until the 5th of August. So I had a sample on the 15th, and I had to wait till the 5th. So any of you who have tried the product flipped out over it and then couldn't get any more. I mean, it was insane. Like, people were driving like 250 miles each way to pick up 6 packets from somebody who had a little extra. I mean, it was like we had just become like addicts all of a sudden. But the product arrived on the 5th, and then in 3.5 weeks, 18 pounds of fat just kind of dripped off my body, massive inflammation just gone, 3 inches off my waist. I was able to start doing push-ups again because of the inflammation. I couldn't do 1 push-up. I was back to doing push-ups. And miraculously, something that really stunned me was, for the first time in my life up until that point, I actually found myself sleeping through the night. Like, that was never a consideration of mine. That was never even a possibility. Like, I just assumed that everybody else sleeps through the night, and I wake up 4 to 6 times a night, watch TV, my head spinning, thinking about stuff, get back in bed, toss and turn, go watch TV, get back in bed, and wake up exhausted. Like, that was kind of how I operated. Big pot of coffee in the morning, would see my clients. When I say see, most of my clients are by phone, between 6 a.m. and noon. And then lunch would arrive. I'd eat lunch. And from that point on, I was like spiking up and down constantly all afternoon. Always a 4 o'clock nap, like without fail. I was pulled to the couch. And then I spent a lot of time talking my kids out of being kids. Daddy, can we go for a scooter ride? What do you want to go for a scooter ride? It rained yesterday. Like, I was making stuff up. Like, it didn't matter. I was going to figure out how to get out of the scooter ride, right? Saturday, whatever, Sunday, they want to go to the movies. Like, okay. We go to the movies. As soon as the lights went down, I was out. It's like, I call it the most expensive nap, taking my kids to the movies. And then I wake up like halfway through, like I'd be snoring or something, and they'd wake me up. Daddy, stop it, you're snoring. So it was not a great existence by any stretch. So the transformation I had was so powerful. And so what I did from that point was, I understood that if misery loves company, joy and happiness loves company even more. And I just started telling my story to like anybody who would listen. Now, what I've learned in the process of all of this is, part of it is my story, right? Part of it is the people identifying. I always say, like, when you tell your story, you're telling some part of someone else's story. And you're giving somebody permission to hope again, to believe again, to think that it's possible that their lives could be different, that their lives could change. But there was another component to it, which I'm a big fan of, because a lot of times people like to put me in a box and say, he's the mindset guy. Like, I'm the mindset guy. And it's like, I see it a little bit broader. I see it as thoughts, feelings, and physicality. So what I also noticed in the process of getting people also excited about it was my energy was up. So energy is a big component to it. So they were really feeding off, and I literally had people say, God, you know, your energy is so amazing. I just on that alone, I have to try it. So my thoughts, my feelings, and my physicality all kind of came into play. And I just kept telling people and telling people and telling people and whoever wanted to listen. Because at that point, I felt like I had a responsibility to tell as many people as possible because I wanted other people to feel as good as I felt. And it just took off. Like by the time September rolled around, they opened up the comp plan and they opened up to customers. That was September. So I think it was October 15th, I think it was, I got my first check now that it was a business. And it was more money than I made in 2 years and 9 months in my previous company. It was insane. And all of a sudden these lights were flashing. Like we know it now as Go Pro, Go MVP, and you know what it is now. When my lights were flashing green, Go Pro, Go MVP, I was like, Jared, Rutherford, why is this green? What does this mean? Like none of us knew what it meant. We had no idea what it meant. We had to like try and read stuff about it, and Rutherford's like, let me text Brian and see if I can find out what's going on. Like we knew it was good because it wasn't red, but we didn't know what it was. Like that's how early days it was. And at that time, over the summer, that time, my phone was dinging 60, 70, 80 times a day with people coming in, like boom, 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 like nonstop. So it just kind of took off. And I always tell the story, which is partially true. It's not 100% true because at that point I was pretty clear about what this was, but it happened so fast I didn't have time to sabotage my business. So maybe some of you can relate to that. So I was on a roller coaster and I just was like going with it. Now, once it opened up, I went to Nick Martinez, who was in my downline, and Mark Wilson, who's in my downline. These dudes read comp plans in their spare time from other companies. Yikes. Like, not what I'm doing with my free time. And I said to them, because I'm not a comp plan guy, I'm a touchy-feely guy. Like, I can read it, and I kind of get it, and it seems good. But it was insane. So I said, is this good? And he said, and they were like, oh, my God, this is unbelievable. This is an amazing comp plan. And I said, so we should do something here? Like, we should do something here? And they're like, absolutely. And then it just took off. And it's been an insane run, and it just continues to be an insane run. So what I was most thrilled about is that I get to bring what I do to this community, because I've always wanted, and I said to Brian very early on in a meeting that we had, I said, if I have any agenda, it's that I want to be part of and influence and impact this company to be the most conscious network marketing company that's ever existed. Now, to me, consciousness and network marketing are kind of like opposite ends of the spectrum, because a lot of companies will design themselves and say, yeah, we're loving, caring, sharing. We're all about relationships. You know, we're all about our connections and our people. But I bet, as some of you know who have come from other companies, once you leave, suddenly loving, caring, sharing is gone. Now you're the enemy. Now you're taking money away from me. You're going to pilfer my downline. All this fear starts to kick in. Well, that's not friendship, and that's not relationship. That's not how true relationships function. So I told Brian, I said, I want to be a part of an impact in a positive way and be the most conscious network marketing company like ever. And he said, you have my word. Like, you have my commitment. That's what I want to. I said, great. So that's the plan, right? So the plan is, and the way I look at it is, I'm not some huge builder. Like, this business took off without me in many ways, and I'm building in Canada and I'm building in other places, but I don't come from some background where I was super successful at other companies, that I built huge teams. I think the most people I had in my last company, I probably had like 110 records, and maybe like 1/3 of them were even active. Okay. Since I've been in Prove It, I haven't looked real recently, but the last time I looked, in terms of the people that were touched either as a customer or as a prover, and I don't know who's active ultimately and who's not, and some duplication, but it's over 24,000 people. Like, I don't even like know what that's like monopoly money. Like, not the money part, but the amount of people. Like, that's insane to me. Like, I don't even understand that. Like, I don't even know how that happened. I get it, but like, so my background is not coming from a place of being some big builder. My background is coming from a place of, I want to bring greater consciousness to a company. So I've been very fortunate. I do corporate calls. I do the Saturday calls. I do work on stage. I was just with Brian and Nancy and a couple of the other leaders in San Diego doing a leadership conference. And we're going to be bringing stuff and implementing really cool stuff by the time you guys get to the Moore event. That's really going to be about how do we do our inside game, right, while we build our business. Because the reality is all of us, I don't care who we are, at some point we come up, like I call it, coming up against your resistance. Something happens, some series of no's, people are bullying me, people are giving me a hard time, you know, family, this, whatever it is, it comes together and you come up against your resistance. Now, for a lot of people, that's the gap where they go, yeah, maybe this isn't the right thing for me, or maybe this isn't going to work. And then they go chase something else. But there's a pattern to that, right? So what I want to do is I want to create, like, not just 1% of people making money and the other 99% chasing that. I want to create a really profound middle class where people are making comfortable money that's comfortable to them, that keeps them engaged, with strong personal development, with innovative products, with a company that really cares about them. Like, that's what I want to be a part of. So if that stops happening, then I kind of drift off because I heard a mentor of mine say this today. I'm just going to read it off my board. It's not about what you get here. It's who you become here. That to me is more important, because I believe money is energy, and I believe money as energy will chase you down when you become the best you. When you get out of your own way and share this product. When you get out of the stories, right? When you get out of the stories about why this is happening or why that's happening. Now, I know a whole bunch of you come from a different company, and people are after you and they're saying nasty things and they're attacking you, and there's just not really pretty things. If you're impacted by that, it's kind of like if you throw a pebble in the pond, right? And creates a ripple effect. If you're in that, that means you're in the pond. That means you got to get out of the pond. That means you're riding somebody else's emotional roller coaster. That means you're doubting some part of yourself and distracting yourself from what you have here. So it's going to be really critical for you to get out of your own way, for you to be able to look at the places and spaces inside of you. One of the catchphrases that hooked Brian into understanding more about who I am and what I do, and this was at the San Diego event when I was doing a breakout session, and I said one line. He immediately shut down the breakout session and put Natalie Kilborn and I up on stage in front of 800 people an hour and a half later, based on this one line. And the line is, anything that upsets me is about me. Anything that upsets me is about me. So if you're upset by what's happening, if people are attacking you, if people are bullying you, if people are giving you a hard time, if you're getting a difficult time from a spouse, what are you doing with this business? Wherever you're getting it from, the upset piece, I'm not excusing the behavior, but the upset piece is about you. And that's a cool thing. Like, it's actually, the message is found in the mess. What you think is the mess, there's a message there. There's a richness there. The very thing that is blocking you, or potentially blocking you from that next level, is the thing that's upsetting you. And it's your responsibility, and it's my responsibility to show you how to do it. And this will happen over time, of how to transform the upset and turn and turn it really into an opportunity for you to finally succeed. Because I'm living proof from a standpoint of just straight network marketing that if I'm able to do this and do this well and do this successfully, that, and I know you've heard this before, and I kind of cringe when I'm about to say it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me just get that out of the way. But I swear to you, that is the truth. Like, I pinch myself every day. Like, it looks like I have defensive wounds on my marks on my arm, like people are attacking me. But here's the thing, like what I've learned is that like nobody can bully me any better. They don't even come close to how incredibly powerful I am at bullying myself. Like nobody can touch me. Like there's nothing anybody can say to me that I haven't said to myself 10 times worse. So if I'm affected by that, if I'm impacted by what people are saying, and believe me, I went through it because I left a previous company, but I left the company, but I accused of leaving the company to come here, and I got accused of all different things, and they suspended my distributorship, and I just sold my position, and the money didn't go through because I was suspended, and we had to seek legal counsel. There was all kinds of stuff that was going on. But I paid attention to it because I realized that that's not loving, caring, and that's not sharing, and that's not friendship, and that's not relationship. We are in relationship marketing. It's about the relationships that we cultivate first and foremost with ourselves, the relationships we form with everybody that's on this Zoom call, and the relationships then we form with people that are coming into the business or becoming customers. If somebody comes into this business and they decide they're going to leave, wish them well. If somebody comes into this business and decides they want to start complaining and they want to start saying, yeah, I have somebody in Canada who missed MVP, like clearly missed MVP, still thinks they should get paid for MVP, and says, you know why I'm not going to Epic? Why is that? Because of what happened. Because you missed MVP and you want the company to pay you because you missed MVP, you're not coming to Epic. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. You don't need that energy. That's somebody who's going to find something wrong no matter what. Like that was a gift for them to say, I'm not coming to Epic. I was like, no worries. Totally get it. I wasn't going to defend it. I wasn't going to argue with it. I was like, oh my God, that's what I call a thank you God moment. Like, oh my God, I didn't have to go through this like 3 or 4 times. And then there's the people that you're going to think, God, if only she sewed this and he sewed this, if only they would see what I see, man, they could kill this. And then we spend a lot of time with those folks and they're not doing anything. But we just believe if we just put a little bit more time and we feed a little bit more into them, God, if they could do this. I call that falling in love with somebody's potential. I teach that to my clients in relationships. You cannot fall in love with somebody's potential. Here's why. When you fall in love with somebody's potential, you reveal a part of yourself that doubts your own potential. And you're so busy trying to prove that it's accurate through them that you're revealing the part of you that doesn't believe that you can do it. That truly, there's some part of you that doesn't believe you can do it. So we got to learn to, I don't know, what's the expression in fishing, catch and release? Like, we caught them, they're in, up. They're trying to find every way to get out of here. Release them. Release them with love. Send them on their way. That's the key. Like, you've got to be able to have a level of discernment around your business. You've got to have a level of discernment about what's yours because you're triggered and you're upset by it, and what's not yours, right? So when I said earlier, anything that upsets me is about me, the upset part is mine. That doesn't mean that the behavior that's going on is okay. So there's 2 separate things going on. But usually what happens is when you get triggered, you get upset by their upset, now you're riding their emotional roller coaster. Now your energy goes from high energy, right, to what we call high beta, which is fight or flight. And now you're distracting yourself from your business. Now you're not there really for yourself, let alone for anybody else. So one of the things that we focused on the other day in the past 2 days in that leadership conference was how to bring this stuff and really help people become leaders. So I had somebody that was talking to me today and they said, yeah, I was so upset that these two people, they left the last company and they tried to pilfer their downline there. And I said, it's really not right. And then they came over here and then now all of a sudden they found something wrong with us. And now they're doing the same thing. And I go, well, that's a pattern. Like they're going to leave and go to another company and do the same thing. Like that's what happens. My belief is like, we have a really cool company and let this be the place where you come up against your resistance, when you come up against your fear, when you come up against your doubt, when you come up against your uncertainty, when you come up against the voices in your head that tells you you can't do this for whatever reason, let this be the place where you change the story. Because we have an unbelievable product that's never existed before in the history of mankind. I mean, just think about that alone. How many people can say that about their product? Never existed before. We've created a brand new way to get ketones in the body. So my big thing is when I'm triggered, and if you're upset because of somebody saying stuff about you from a previous company, or you're upset because this is happening over here, okay, what you've done is you've fallen back into your past. You're literally falling back into the past, into the old patterns, into the old stories, into the old crap that you say no longer works, but you're still playing in that pond. The key here is if you can create the past in the present moment, even though it's not the past, but you can actually do it, that should tell you, because it tells me that you're a very powerful manifester. If you could actually, that's magic. Like you can take the past and make it show up today. Holy cow. Like that's insane. Super talented. Like that's awesome. Congratulations. I would give each of you an Academy Award for that. I swear I would. Because that's how powerful it is. Even though it's not the present moment. Even though it's the past. And why are we able to do that? Because our brain doesn't know the difference between the past, the present, or the future. Doesn't know it. Doesn't know a difference between something that's taken place or is about to take place. If you're deathly afraid of heights and all of a sudden you have to climb something, or somebody says, you know, tomorrow you're going to have to climb this tower, your body immediately starts to have a reaction. You have the thought, you have the emotions, chemicals start coursing through your body. And it's like you're on the ladder. It's like you're climbing already and you're sitting in your living room. That's called creating the past in the present moment. That you're able to pull from that because of something that may have happened to you 10, 15, 20 years ago. Well, here's how it works. If you're able to take your past and recreate in the present moment, the opposite, exact opposite end has to be true. It has to be true that you can create the future in the present moment. If your brain doesn't know the difference, why not win? I know that sounds insane. Like, why not win? Stop telling stories and stop living in the past and dragging it along with you. Like right now, if I could like, Lynn, I just tapped you on the head, sorry, on the screen. But if I could tap each of you on the head and you could develop amnesia, and you'd wake up and the only thing you could remember was who you love and who loves you, what would stop you from crushing this business? What frame of reference would you have that says you can't do this? You'd be a blank canvas. You wouldn't have an experience in a previous company. You wouldn't have a situation that happened to you when you were 9. But your subconscious mind holds on to all this stuff and just keeps trying to play it out over and over and over again because your subconscious mind doesn't want you to be any better today, tomorrow. It wants you to be right where you are, right in this lane right here. And if you're not crushing it, it's because your past is telling you you can't do it. So let's create the future in the present moment. Now, how do I do that? I do it every day with clients, and I'll get like phone calls. Oh my God, like this really works. Really? Like, surprise, like really. So what you do is it's really super simple. It's really super simple. If you keep telling yourself stories about why you can't win, start telling yourself stories about why you're already winning. That's it. So my clients, when they come to work for me, they write a living vision for the year. That living vision can look like, for me, I'll give you an example, my relationship with myself, always, that has to be number one, your relationship with yourself. Number two, if you have kids like I do, my relationship with my girls. Number three, if you're involved in a relationship, if you're married, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever's going on is cool with me. You need to have something for that one too. And number four, your business. Okay? So what are the qualities that you're bringing and you foresee happening over 2017? You literally sit down and you write about them. As if you bumped into a friend you hadn't seen in a while, and they say, hey, I haven't seen you in a couple years. What's been going on? And you just write. My wife and I are experiencing greater levels of intimacy and connection. We're laughing all the time. We're having fun. We make sure that we're out at least once a week together without the kids, because we want to model and continue to model for our kids what a healthy, loving, nurturing relationship looks like, so it can improve the quality of their relationships as they get older. And I'll just keep going. And then I'll get to my kids and I'll talk about what's going on with my kids. And then I'll talk about myself, my personal growth, my personal development, everything that I'm involved in, everything that I'm doing, the amount of money I'm making, the amount of lives I'm touching, the joy and happiness I feel. And I'll do that with my business. Somebody goes, I want to be ranked 6 by summer. Why? Like, bigger. Just be bigger. Why rank 6 by summer? What's stopping you from now? Well, I just, and I'm listening to that. Now, here's the energy. Well, I got a lot going on. Like, poof, you're here, you're flatlining. Check for a pulse. Do CPR. You got to raise your energy. You got to pick it up. When you walk into a room, you can sense energy, whether you realize it or not. Some of you are probably more in tune to it. You could walk in a room and go, I'm turning around and leaving, right? Walk into a room with your energy elevated. So when I write out my living vision every day, because I write it out every day because I want to get that energy going in the morning, right? I'm raising my energy. I'm raising my vibration. I'm reminding myself of what I'm a part of, as if it's already happening. Why? Because my brain doesn't know that it's not happening. It doesn't know. So, hey, here's an idea. Let's win at my own fantasy. If you're not in a relationship, I have clients who are not in a relationship, and I say, who are you calling in? What do they look like? What do they sound like? What are the qualities? What do you bring to the table in the relationship? And they'll write everything out. And all of a sudden, someone shows up. And they're like, oh, this is a little scary. I didn't know it was going to happen this fast. Well, some people it happens right away. Some people it happens a little longer. And then at the bottom of my living vision, I always write the following sentence. This is really important. So if you're interested in doing this, please write this down. This or something better for the highest good of all concerned. This or something better for the highest good of all concerned. Why do I write this or something better for the highest good of all concerned? Why? Because sometimes you don't get what it is that you want to get. And if you react to that and start beating yourself up and bullying yourself, your energy level drops and you take yourself out of the possibility and probability that something better is meant to happen. You didn't get that for a reason. All of us can look back on parts of our lives where things didn't go the way we wanted, and we ended up in a better place. Would everybody agree? Thumbs up, nod, something. That's how it works. This or something better for the highest good of all concerned. Guess what? Maybe what it is that you want isn't in your highest good. You just don't know that right now. Are you willing to trust that? Are you willing to trust yourself? Are you willing to just keep going? Well, I wrote my living vision for a week and nothing happened. What do you want me to say? Keep writing. Keep going. I don't know what's in your highest good. All I know is it works, because when it's right, when the timing, when things come together, all of a sudden things appear. They always appear. Before Prove It came along, I meditate. Like, that's a big thing for me. Like, one of my things that I do every morning is I meditate. And why do I meditate? Because I understand that if 95% of my brain is my subconscious mind, which stores all the things that tell me why I can't do something, are all sitting there waiting to pounce, and only 5% of my prefrontal cortex is my logic center and my creativity center, that's a pretty difficult number to compete with, 95% versus 5%. So my goal is to reprogram my subconscious mind. So what I did before Prove It came along was I said, you know what? I'm going to focus on not imagining myself whole and better and feeling better, being better, feeling better now. So I did that in my meditation. The second part is that I wanted to take what I was doing with clients, with the 3 million plus people I was reaching with articles, and I wanted to be reaching people belly to belly on a stage, in an environment. I wasn't sure what the environment was, but I literally would focus every day on seeing myself well, being well, and then seeing myself on a stage. And I would see the lights, and I would feel the heat, and I would see the people in the audience, and I could smell it. And you want to get all your senses involved in this. So I did that for about 7 months. Then Prove It came along, and there was the product. I kept focusing on the other stuff. I kept using that in my meditation. And all of a sudden, Natalie Kilborn says to me, you know, there's nobody I would rather do this breakout session with than you, because you get this stuff on a much deeper level, and you can bring something to the community. I said, great, do a breakout session. Cool. So the night before the breakout session, we're sitting there trying to figure out, you know, Brian's giving us a very specific thing of what it looks like. And Rob DeBoer comes up to me and goes, dude, I had to pull over in the car last Saturday because your call was so powerful. I couldn't drive. I just had to sit there and take it in. And T. Caudron, who was involved in the company at the time, said, well, I happen to have it, Rob, because she was a big fan of what I was doing. Here, let me send it to you. Maybe you could get it to Brian. And T was like, wouldn't that be great? Like, if Brian heard you? I said, listen, it's all unfolding perfectly. I'm doing this breakout thing tomorrow with Natalie. I don't have anything on it, T. Like, you're more anxious about it. I'm not even anxious. Like, I'm just showing up. I'm just trusting and showing up. So I go in there, and we go up and do our breakout session. And who comes into the first breakout session but Brian and Nancy? And they're sitting there, and you know, Brian can kind of be a little bit of a poker face guy. Like, he's always on his phone. He's always looking down. Natalie's talking. And then I get up and I'm talking, and I could feel the energy of the room. People were really loving what was going on, and they were really getting it on a deeper level. And all of a sudden, Brian stands up in the back of the room, and he goes, puts his hand up like this. He said, hold on. This will be the last time this breakout session happens in this room today. And I'm thinking, wow, like, that's pretty abrupt. I thought we were doing pretty good. I thought Natalie's stuff was good. People seemed to be responding to her. They were responding to mine. And there's this pregnant pause, and he goes, because what's happening here in this room is so good, it needs to go up on stage. 90 minutes later, I'm up on stage. And this is a perfect example of old self and new self. I'm up on stage. Natalie was going first, and I'm standing on the stage, and my old self, the younger Mitch, with all of his old stories and all of his old baggage and all of his old crap, was going, well, what are you going to say? What's the first thing out of your mouth? You probably don't even know what you can. Like, was beating me, was trying to beat me up. And I go, and I kind of turn to myself as if I'm standing next to myself. And I'm like, so is that the story you're going to go with? Because I realized that I had already been doing this in my meditation for 6-7 months, every day. Like, I saw myself here. I already saw it happening. So all of a sudden, the fear went away. Everything was gone. And I went out there and I crushed it. And it resonates for people. Why? Because your inside game and your outside game go side by side. I love the go, 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 high energy, go, go, go. You know what? Everybody comes up against their resistance. We have to build the inside game. So for me, when I work on the living vision aspect, Miss calling me. When I work on the living vision aspect is I'm creating what it is that I want. I'm creating it right there on paper. And here's the cool thing that I have people do. I have people like find an accountability partner. You find an accountability partner to find out if how many people you're talking to every day. You find an accountability partner to say, hey, you know, how many people went MVP, you know, a little checklist, like it's a scorecard. And then you hide from your accountability partner the next day when you haven't talked to anybody. You'll, I'll call you later. I have a sore throat. You know, like bullshit. You don't want to talk to him because you're judging yourself for not having done what you say. But guess what? Have an accountability partner when you call up. You say, hey, Kelly, how's 2017 going for you? And Kelly just rips off, said, man, it's unbelievable. Here's what's going on here. Here's what's going on in my family. Here's what's going on in my kids. Here's what's going on in my business. That's awesome. Unbelievable, Kelly. That's fantastic. How about you, Mitch? Oh, my God. It's just crazy. You know, and like we're whipping each other up. Now you get off the phone and try and just take a nap. Good luck. It's not going to happen. So the idea is taking the future and bringing it here now. Because we already know that you can do the past and the present moment. We already know that you can get sucked in to the people that are saying crap about you, that are calling you names, that are making accusations, and so forth and so on. That's called gossip. That's called toxicity. That's called low vibration, low energy. Don't play in that arena anymore. You don't belong there. Right? Raise your energy. Change your energy, change your life. I swear to you, change your energy, change your life. That's how it works. If the brain could figure it all out, right? Your subconscious mind would be thrilled if you just stayed right where you are. You ever seen the movie Groundhog Day? With Bill Murray? Every day is the same day. Until one day he does one thing different. And everything changes. So people say to me, well, I don't know where to start. Where do I start? Here's where you start. I guarantee you every single person on here gets out of bed the same way every morning, same side of the bed, same way. I guarantee you everybody here, when they shower, washes their body and washes their hair in the same order. I guarantee most of you also, when you get out of the shower, dry your body the same way you dry your body every time. I guarantee you most of you, when you drive to the market, drive the same way to the market and park in the same general area that you'll always park in. Would you agree? Start there. Drive a different way to the market. I'll get out of bed, like, I don't even like doing this. Like, it's too much work to get out of bed that way, but I'll like slide down to the front of the bed and pop off. I'm just used to like roll over, tuck, roll, get up, right? But I'll literally do that. What happens is when you change your behaviors, when you change, everything is connected, everything's linked together. So if you do things in the same order every day, you're going to have the same thoughts, and you're going to have the same feeling, and you're going to have the same experiences. That's how it works. Your body is really excited for you to do exactly what you did today. Please do it again tomorrow. Please don't be any better. Please think about being better and then find a reason not to pick up the phone. Oh, I really, I have to call this person. I haven't talked to them before, but, I really need to clean the fridge out really quickly. I just need to clean the fridge out. Like, you're going to find something else to do, right? So you change it up. You get out of bed a different way. You wash yourself in the shower a different way. You dry off a different way. Don't use your favorite coffee mug tomorrow morning. Use a different mug. Your coffee will still taste really good. I promise you. Drive to the market a different way, where if you go to work, drive a different way. Yeah, but Mitch, it's 10 minutes longer. Trust me, it'll be worth it. You will think, the more you do the same activities, the more your thoughts and your feelings and your physicality are going to match that day after day. I remember one time I had a job years ago, And I hated it so much. And I used to think about how much I hated it every time I used to iron my shirt to go to work. Because I hit that steam button, the steam would come up. And I'd be like, oh, I can't believe I'm still doing this job. 20 years later, I'm running to a meeting and I realized, and I said to my wife, I said, do you even have an iron? Like, she goes, yeah, it's in the closet. I pull the iron out, pull out this old ironing board. I put it up. I fill some water in the thing. And I'm sitting there ironing the shirt. And I hit that, and the smell comes up and I get depressed. Okay? That's how powerful this stuff is. So if you want to show up, if you want different, you've got to show up differently. You've got to risk being different tomorrow when you wake up. You've got to risk doing it differently if you want a different outcome. Because if you keep doing what you're doing, I swear to you, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. That's the way it works. So if you mix it up, if you change your story, and then if you have an I am statement, this is a really fun exercise I do. I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you, but this is really cool. Take your I am statement and write it with your opposite hand. Write it with your opposite hand. Number one, your opposite hand, when you go to write with your opposite hand, it's going to look like it's a really young, like 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade handwriting, right? However you write. That's actually a cool thing, okay? Because if you remember when you were younger, you were attached to wonder and amazement and possibility. And the world was just like, whatever, like it's all cool. Like you hadn't been riding a bike long enough to fall down to not want to get up, like some of us do as adults. What you're also doing is you're also firing new neural connections in your brain. You're creating new connections in your brain. So you're reading it, you're writing it, and then you can say it out loud. And maybe do that 2 or 3 times a day. Now, the first time I did it, like it was really so awkward. Like my arm hurt, my shoulder hurt, my back hurt. I realized I was breathing really shallow, like I was working out in the gym, lifting a weight, right? And then all of a sudden I just went, just relax, just ease into it, just chill out, just have fun with it. And so I would write it, and I would write it, and I'd write it again. And then right after I go grab something to eat and realize it's been a couple hours, I go, oh, I'm going to write it again. And I would do it 2 or 3 times, and all of a sudden it starts getting clearer. And if it's not clear, that means you're probably amped up and anxious and maybe in fight or flight and having a little bit too much stress going on that day. But you're creating new neural connections. Like you have a huge opportunity here. And I don't even care if it ultimately comes about whether or not success is you define success. It's not as I define success for you, right? Like if you can learn this here, you will find that this will trickle over into every other aspect of your life. Clients would come to me and I would tell them in the beginning, I'd say, listen, what I'm going to teach you is actually going to make you a quadruple threat in your life, because it's going to help you at the office, it's going to help you with your employees, it's going to help you with coworkers, it's going to help you with other relationships, with other friendships, it's going to help you with your parents, it's going to help you with not just you and your spouse. They never really hear me at that point. But at some point down the road, they'll say, hey, you know what? And I'll go, why? And they go, I tried that thing you told me to do with my wife at the office, and you know what? And I go, what? And they go, it works. I'm like, wow, that's so cool. So what you're going to learn here, and what you have my commitment on, and you have the company's commitment on, is be here, stay here. Like, it's good here. It really is good here, right? Don't run. Don't go into the proven protection program. Don't disappear. Don't stop taking people's phone calls. You know how to hide in a job. You know how to go like to work and figure out a way. I used to have a client. He used to just hold up the phone and just talk, pretend like because he had a glass office, and people would walk by and they think he's on the phone. He wasn't talking to anybody. Like he knew how to hide. You can't hide here. Like you can disappear. You can stop taking calls. You can stop appearing. You can literally disappear. I shouldn't say that, but you can. But why? Because if you don't, like, draw the line in the sand here for your life. We're about better. If you're really ready for better, be better here. For as long as you can be better here. Learn as much as you can about yourself. What did I say earlier? It's not about what you get here. It's who you become here. Everything else will chase you. If it's money, money is energy. Money will chase you. If it's relationships, it's friendships, they'll chase you. Why? Because you're here to be your best better. If you be your best better here, I promise you, it will spill over into every other relationship in your life. And it will also allow you to have a discernment to realize some of those relationships that you have, they don't work. They're not acceptable to you anymore. If once you decide and realize that you deserve better, you start to demand better from the relationships that you participate in. So yeah, you're going to get a bunch of no's out there. There are going to be people saying, no, I'm not interested. No, network marketing. Oh yeah, my uncle lost. No, I'm not interested. They're going to have every story in the world for you. But my favorite story that always reminded me, and happened to me a long time ago, I was in a nightclub in downtown Los Angeles. It was a Saturday night. And in those days, I was just super, super not comfortable in my own skin. So I used to stand at the bar and drink until eventually, and it was like a setup. It was like the same thing that happened every Saturday night. I'd stand at the bar and drink until some girl would come over to me and say, gosh, I've been looking at you all night. And I'd just crack a joke or something. Hey, can I buy you a drink and whatever? And then we'd go dance, right? Like that was my routine because I didn't want to hear no. I just didn't want to hear it. So one particular night, there's this guy there, and he's wearing this is like, everybody's really kind of dressed to the nines, but like club-like. And he's like in a suit without a tie, with the shirt open, and with a big, fro, and he's bouncing around. He's not particularly a good-looking guy, but he's walking around. He's like, hey, you want to dance? No. Hey, you want to dance? He just kept going. And I'm like, wow, that's unbelievable. And then later that night, after my routine, girl comes over to the bar, I'm looking at it all night, blah, 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 blah. Let's have a drink. Let's go dance. I'm out on the dance floor, and he's out there dancing with this really cute girl. And he's having the best time. And I'm thinking to myself, God, if that was me, I would be like, A, I can't believe 19 girls said no. And B, what's wrong with this girl that she said yes? So I remember this story for I'll reveal how old I am. I'm 56, going to be 57. So it's quite some time ago. But I don't know. It's like the mid 80s, like 87, 88, whatever. And why do I remember this story all these years later? Why does this story ever? And I realized what it is. And I realized it not until I came into this industry. That I realized is you're just looking for somebody to dance. You're going to get a lot of no's. The no's aren't about you. Don't be so narcissistic to think the world is about you, and so therefore the no is about you. Most people are programmed to say no. Most people, that's a defensive means of protecting themselves. Like you're a homeless person walking up and saying, hey, can I have $1? No. Right? You're going to get a lot of no's. But this guy, he just wanted to dance. That was his own thing. He wasn't attached to the rejection. He didn't make the rejection about him. He was looking for one yes. And honestly, when I get up every day and I have people say no to me all the time, I may have 24,000 people that have been impacted directly or indirectly by me at some point since July of 2015. But I get no's all the time. And they don't always make sense to me, and it doesn't matter if they make sense to me. No? Okay. Hey, we got this thing. Yeah, it's not for me. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave the business because, they didn't pay me that $500 that I really still believe that they owed me. Okay. People used to come up to me at mixers and they go, what do you do when somebody says this, this, and this, and this, something negative, whatever. And I go, okay. And they're standing there and I go, no, that was a period at the end of okay. That's what I say. I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. Why? Because I know not everybody is ready for better. Not everybody's ready for better. That's okay. Just where they're at. Maybe they're better someplace else. Maybe this product doesn't make them better, but maybe something else does. Wish them well. Maybe they circle back. We've all had people circle back and say, you know, I was rethinking because I've been watching on Facebook and I see you getting on a jet. Like, I see you driving a Lexus, you know, whatever people say, you know, like all of a sudden, like something triggers back. Kind of curious about that now, you know, okay. Or they don't come back. I had somebody today just write back, no thank you, in the text. No thank you. Guy's like a beast, owns a gym. He's a beast, was loving our product. Something happened. I don't know what. So I figured it's been a long time. Let me circle back. And I just said, I'll put it out there. He said, no thank you. So all I did, the only thing I did after that, when he said no thank you, was I erased the thread. Why did I erase the thread? I don't want that energy on my phone. I don't want that energy in my email. Okay. So at this point, if anything changes, I'm sure I'll hear from them. If not, let's move on. I probably had seven no's today. What am I going to do? Keep going. Go for no. You ever read that book, Go for No? Awesome book. Awesome book. I actually called up somebody one time and I said, listen, I made a commitment that I was going to get 10 no's today and I have 9. So I'm really hoping you can help me out. And they're like, okay. I said, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just share with you about this product that I'm working with. And then, you know, if you have any questions, you can ask questions. But then at the end, if you could just say, no, I'm not interested, that would be great because I want to go have dinner with my family. And they're like, okay. So I tell them all about it. And then they go, so what do you think? And they're like, well, can I say maybe? And I'm like, oh my God, I have to call somebody else now. I called you for a simple no and you give me a maybe. So I have fun with it, like play with it. Like, this isn't brain surgery. This is opening your heart surgery. This is having fun. This is raising your energy, raising your vibration, creating a new story, deciding this is the year that you crush it, and then go crush it. And then when you come up against your resistance, go, wow, I'm up against my resistance. This is really the opportunity where I can either go back into the old stories, or maybe this isn't really anything breaking down, but it's actually breaking through to something better. Huh. Let me go back and read my living vision. Let me go back and do a short meditation. Let me go back and read something, watch something. Let me go back and remind me of who I am. I remind people, like, you've just simply forgotten. If anything I'm saying resonates for any of you, it's because you've already known it somewhere in consciousness. I'm not teaching you anything new. You just forgot. I want to help people remember. I want to help people remember who they really are. Not the thought of who you are, not the judgment, because that's the thinker part. That's not who you are, but who you are at your core. Huge, huge, huge difference. So if you want to show up here, please don't be so selfish to think that you don't have gifts. You're withholding your greatness. You're better from everybody else on this team when you don't show up. When you don't think that your question is important and you hold back, I don't get to witness your greatness because you might be able to teach me something about myself, but because you're so concerned about what I'm going to think of what you're about to say or what other people are going to think, that could have been the moment for me where I got something. That could have been the moment for someone else that they got something. It's time to show up. If you're ready to show up. I have no judgment on any of it if you're not. I'm completely non-judgmental. I don't have anything on it. But if you want better and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, show up. Everybody's here to support you. Like, there's so many cool people in this leg to support you that will take your phone call, that will say, sure, let's do that. Or, yeah, absolutely. Me, Jared, Mike Rutherford, Natalie Kilborn, Mark and Judy Willitson, Nick Martinez. Like, we get it. We want everybody to win who wants to win. You can't win with the old story. You can't win with the story that tells you you can't really do this. You can't win with that story. So create a story where you win. This is the place. I'm telling you, this is the place. If it's your time, if you're ready, this is the place. This is where it happens. So I think I've rambled on quite some time.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. I'm just like sitting here like, oh, we just listened to you all night. I love it. Gosh, I have notes. I'm going to listen to this tomorrow a couple of times. This is awesome. I think this is definitely fitting. I mean, everything comes for a reason, and we just, we had Nick last week come on, and he did a Zoom on the compensation plan. Needed. We had a lot of number of people that wanted to know. But I think a lot of times we forget about how important this stuff is. Like, to get to the compensation plan and all of those things, you have to be able to have this. And like, if you're not present, if you're not ready and positive and feeding yourself, like, the compensation plan is really not going to do anything for you. So it's like, this is just perfect timing for this Zoom. So I know everybody's like, yes, love it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. I mean, this is my juice. This is what feeds me. To be able to download what comes through me. It's not me. I'm just a messenger. I trust that, and I just want to be real and authentic, and bring a level of consciousness to this community, because I think we all deserve it. I know we all deserve it, and I think there's, like, I'm telling you, like, what I was doing the past couple of days, like, it's going to be, more event is going to be nuts. Like, hold on. Like, epic's going to be epic, but more is going to be more. Like, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm so excited. That's so awesome.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I know you've got your sweet little girls and your beautiful wife, so thank you for taking your time out of your own family time to spend with us. I definitely appreciate you, and